This is a video covering 3-2 parallel lines cut by a transversal with algebra. In this lesson, we'll make conjectures about angles formed by parallel lines cut by a transversal, and we will also write and solve equations using parallel lines and transversals. In order to do this topic, you will need to know how to recognize parallel lines and angle pairs created by a transversal, including alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, and same side interior. Through our parallel lines investigation, we should have learned that when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, these angle pairs are congruent. Well, we know that corresponding angles are congruent. We know that alternate interior angles are congruent. And we also know that alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we also have an angle pair that's always congruent regardless of whether the lines are parallel, and those are vertical angles. And remember, vertical angles are those such as 2 and 5 or 1 and 6, those directly across from each other. We also have angle pairs which are always supplementary, and those are same side interior and same side exterior. Now, we also call these angles sometimes consecutive interior or consecutive exterior. Now, there's an angle pair that's always supplementary regardless of whether the lines are parallel, and that is a linear pair. So a linear pair would be like angle 1 and angle 5, or angle 3 and angle 4. So we know all of our angle pairs, and we know that if two things are congruent, then their measures are equal. We can use this information to write equations to solve for missing values. For example, in this example, it says line L is parallel to line M. Find the value of x. Okay, so the first thing we do is we look at our angle pairs. We have this angle and this angle. The type of angle pair we see here is alternate interior because it's inside the parallel lines and it's also on opposite sides of the transversal. We know that alternate interior angles are congruent. So now we can write an equation and solve. All right, so we have 2x minus 10 is equal to 3x minus 40. We'll solve this by subtracting 2x from each side. We get negative 10 equals x minus 40. So now we just add 40 to each side, and we get x equals 30. And the question asks to find the value of x, and that's what we've done here. So we are done with this problem. In this next example, we have two angles here and here. Now it says that the two lines are parallel. So we look at our angle pair. This angle pair is, these are corresponding. And we know that they're corresponding because they are in the same position in the two groups of angles. This one's at the top top right, and this one's at the top right. We know that corresponding angles are congruent, so the measurements are equal. So we set them equal to each other. And so now we're going to subtract 2x from each side. We get 2x minus 30 equals negative 14. Okay, our next step is to add 30 to each side. We get 2x equals 16, which means x equals 8. And in this problem, they asked us to find the value of x. And we found the value of x, so we are done with this problem. Let's look at another example. It says that line L is parallel to line M. And so now we have an angle here. Oops, let me just use, okay. We have this angle and this angle. These angles are both interior, but they're on the same side of the transversal. So we would call these same side interior. All right. Same side interior angles are supplementary. So knowing that they're supplementary, then we can write an equation that adds them together and they equal 180. So we have 5x minus 32 plus x plus 8 equals 180. And we will combine our like terms, so that's 6x minus 24 is equal to 180. Let's add 24 to each side. And we get 6x equals 204. And 204 divided by 6 gives us x equals 34. Now the question says, what is the value of x? So we found the value of x and we are done. In this next example, again, we have line L is parallel to line M. But notice that the lines aren't completely drawn. Sometimes you'll need to continue your line like this and kind of like this, so you can see where your angle pairs are. So now we can see that we have an angle here and an angle here. Okay, the question asks, what's the type of angle pair? This is sort of a trick question because this is not a pair that we know. There's no named pair that we can use to name this. However, we know that they are supplementary because we know that this angle and this angle, those are corresponding, right? And they're congruent. So then the one next to that is going to be supplementary to that. All right, so because they're supplementary, we write the equation 3x minus 40 plus x equals 180. Combine our like terms and we get 4x minus 40 equals 180. And we can add 40 to each side. We get 4x equals 220. Divide by 4. And we get x equals 55. So based on this lesson, you now know how to make conjectures about angles formed by parallel lines cut by a transversal, and you know how to write and solve equations using parallel lines and transversals. Now you'll finish the practice to 85% accuracy. Thanks for watching.